I've been handcrafting home decor for almost 6 years now, and Urban Artisan has been my brand since 2020. But I never thought about starting a YouTube channel. I always created quietly, off camera, until recently. So my daughter had a university project where she needed to make a candle from scratch, and I helped her with it. While we were working on it together, mixing, designing, experimenting, something just clicked. That project sparked the idea to finally pick up the camera and start sharing what I create. So today, I'm making a Christmas candle, and this video marks the start of something brand new for me. If you enjoy watching handcrafted work come to life, then welcome. You're in the right place.
Oh, okay. Can you redo that?
For this project, I'll be using the main ingredient, and that's Jesmonite AC100. So it's it comes in two forms, powder and liquid. And to make things easier to reach, I usually transfer them to small containers. Jesmonite also supplies two types of acrylic sealers. So they have the matte and the gloss finish. But I don't have this in hand, I only have the matte. So instead, I'll be using Minwax Polycrylic. It's a water-based, glossy type of finish, and it kind of fits perfectly for this project. A heat gun, in case we need to melt the surface candle. And this is the main jar. The composites are pre-calculated, and it's usually very simple really, so you have 1 part liquid, 2 part and half powder. We're going to use red color for this project, and Jesmonite supplies these pigments, and they are super vibrant. And they usually advise using only 2% with the total amount of the material. A mixing blade, and I recommend using this particular blade. It's really good in blending all the materials together. Regarding the fragrance that we're going to use, it's by the Flaming Candle. So we're going to have a blend of the Autumn Flannel Fragrance Oil, 50% of that, and the rest will be Cocoa Butter of Kashmir. I found mixing fragrances makes a wonderful smell and absolutely unique, really. We're going to use these silicone containers to mix the fragrances, just to keep things really sustainable. We're going to also use this cross type candle wick, and I have no idea what's this. This is a 100% natural soy wax that I always buy from my local supplier here in Dubai. And it's really been working absolutely perfectly. I also use my Cricut Maker 3 to design and cut the logo that I'm going to place on the candle jars. These are actually metallic and type of works really well for this Christmas candle project. Let's make our first candle jar. Now I'm adding the red pigment, keeping it within the 2% limit for the best finish. Once that's in, I mix the powder into the liquid and blend everything thoroughly using the mixing blade, just to kind of make sure you mix everything together really well. After that, I switch to a silicone spatula. It really helps bring the mixture all together and smooth out any remaining dry spots, so that the texture becomes completely even. And now is the time to turn on the vibrating tool. This machine is originally used in dental labs as a gypsum shaker, but it works just perfect for removing air bubbles from Jesmonite. So with the vibration tool on, I slowly pour the mixture into the mold to prevent bubbles from building up instead. Just take your time really here. And the idea behind that, just you need to go very slow until that jar is just filled really till the top. While the machine is on, because you need to have minimum amount of bubbles building up with the mix. Then, using a small plastic straw, I pop any bubbles that rise to the top. It is such a simple step, but it makes a huge difference really in how smooth the final piece would look like. And using the remaining mix, I'll just use it to repeat the same step with the lid. So what I'm doing now is I'm pouring the material into the lid while the machine is on, and just kind of like turn this entire silicone mold to make sure that the entire mixture is really even and there are no bubbles. Sometimes if you need an extra hand, would be necessary in this stage. Just really finishing the rest of the material here and scrape everything into the mold. And that's it really. This is the process of making the candle jar and the lid. I'll repeat the exact same thing over here, just kind of use the straw really, increase the power of the vibrating tool to get rid of any bubbles. Jesmonite sets pretty quickly. Usually within 15 to 30 minutes you can do the first demolding, but to reach full hardness and real strength it needs about 24 hours, allowing time for sanding, finishing and sealing. And it's always better to wait until the next day before applying any vinyl, just to make sure that the surface area is completely dry so the adhesive sticks perfectly. While the piece is curing, this is usually the time I like to clean up my workspace and prepare the finishing materials. Jesmonite can leave a light residue on the mold edges, so giving everything a quick wipe now saves time later. And right now we are going to put the design of the brand right on the candle jar, like so. And to do so, we're basically going to peel what we have, put that on the transfer paper, and the job is done. And you need to do it very carefully until you get the first layer out, and then of course do the peel just like that. We bring it closer to the camera, but that's the idea really. And take your time so that it becomes perfect and you don't peel the letters away. Once everything is peeled off, let's do some zooming. We put the transfer paper so the letters, we're trying to merge them so that when we put them on the pot, we make sure that the letters are completely aligned. Once that's done, scrape it a little bit so that the letters and the entire design stick to the transfer paper. And then let's do the peel. And it didn't work. Fantastic. That's the design. Absolutely beautiful. Completely transferred to the transfer paper. It's actually metallic, which is really beautiful. It gives you that, you know, Christmas vibe, and that's exactly what we need to achieve. So basically what we need to do now is to kind of align the pot, make sure it's right in the middle so that we fix it properly, and then of course press it. Once the design is placed into the pot, we'll just make sure that we press it very well. We can actually go with this roller rubber as well, and just make sure that the design is 100% pressed really well into the pot. Time to do the peel. I'm a bit nervous really on the camera, but let's see how it goes. Oh my god, I am in love. This is beautiful. I mean, look at this. Absolutely a masterpiece. All right, time to pour the candle. Oh, we need to seal it first. All right, let's put this on use. With a brush, just make sure that it's very fine, absolutely fine, and of course clean. All right, dip a little bit, just so. Catch the design like that. The idea behind that is you shouldn't overload the brush. Do not overload the brush. This is very, then just apply a very thin coat, keep rotating, apply more, like so. So the idea behind having the toothpick is to make sure that the pot has a very minimum surface area, so it's standing just like that, elevated. I also applied a couple of layers on the cover as well. And let's wait until it gets dry. Then we can start making the candle. Now that the jar is dry to the touch, I have prepared warning stickers that we can use. These are specifically made for the candles. What we need to do is just line it up and stick that right in the middle. This is done. The next thing we need to do is we basically need to place these. This is a wooden wick. It really depends on the diameter of the candle jar. You just want to make sure that you use the right ones. These are actually natural wood, and they're also made perfect for this type of candles. So place it like so. Place this over here. We put now double stick. I think one is more than enough already. Okay. Now we'll try and center it. We got that right. Looking perfect. All we have to do now is what's next, and that's preparing the candles. To prepare the candle, we already have our mixture that we need to do. Put the right amount and get ready with. Now I do have with me the pre-calculation of the candle loads. So I have a net weight of 270 grams with a ratio that I want to keep. Usually you can go between 6, 7, 8, 10 to 12. I'm gonna go 10 with this ratio. So this website that I use, what you need to have over here is the net weight or the desired weight of the container. How much load does it really take? Now, what's really fascinating is there is even calculators that tells you how much soy wax you need to keep over here. How it works really, it's the conversion between water to soy wax. So you can fill it up with water, remove that, and then you need to do a conversion between water, because water is less condensed than the oil, than the wax. So the net weight over here, I'm gonna write 270. The ratio that I wanna go for, which is 10%, and the total number of candles. So if it's 3, it gives you exactly how much you need to put. So in this case, I have the calculation and it tells me exactly what I need. So basically 245.5 wax that's needed, and this is the oil, or the amount of oil that we need to have. So because the amount that we have now is 245.5 grams, what we basically need to have is to make sure that we have 245.5 grams. $245.5 grams. Et voila, that's absolutely perfect. Because my fragrance oil needed is 24.5, I'm gonna cut this in half. So we're going to end up having about 12 ml. Now regarding the fragrance that I'm using, the fragrance oil, is I'm doing a mix of autumn flannel with cocoa butter cashmere, and we're going to go 12 by 12. So let's go. Just make sure that you are absolutely correct with the measurement. It has to be exact. So here is 8, and here is your 12.5. This is great. Others, they prefer to mix them into containers. I would really go with one, so it's fine. 24.5. Now we need to make sure that we actually achieve 24.5 over here. So here we go. Now what we need to do is just make sure that we close this up, keep it aside, close this up, and then take the soy wax so that we heat it to 185 Fahrenheit. So it's about 85 Celsius. Cool. You don't really need to have a special machine to do this for you. You can even do it with water. Just make sure it's low on fire. I think we are almost there. So the moment this hits 185, that's about 185 Fahrenheit, that's about 85 Celsius. We are going to put off the fire and take the fragrance oil. We'll add the fragrance oil aside. So we'll give it another 2 minutes. Now that's the temperature reached its point. We can go ahead and add the fragrance oil that we did pre-mix earlier. And so here you go. Now you need to basically scrape this. Alright, so these are really multiple use and absolutely fantastic. You can use them like infinity, and you keep on using them as well. Alright, let's go back to the mix. What we need to do is just keep on mixing this for about a minute and a half really, just to kind of like make sure that the fragrance oil is really mixing very thoroughly with the wax. There are a lot of times where you got a problem with that, but what you need to do is make sure that you mix this very well. As you can see, I put the fragrance on 185 Fahrenheit, that's about 85 Celsius. Regardless of the fragrance flashing point, you need to make sure that you put the fragrance and you mix that fragrance with the wax at that exact temperature. And the reason why is because you really need to make sure that the fragrance is mixed very, very well with the wax, because the last thing you need to do is to, you know, to have that overburn on the candle and get that, you know, the little fireworks instead of candle, because that's exactly what you'll end up having. Okay, now that we mix this very, very well, all we have to do is go ahead and add the mixture. So we scrape the rest of the container and just like that. So now what we can do is we can set this aside until it's completely dried. Sealing really brings out the color. It adds more depth and it also protects the piece. This also helps to lock down the vinyl logo in place, so the sealer acts almost like a glue, forming a protective layer over the logo. And here you can clearly see the difference between a sealed finish and unsealed surface. And here, for instance, I can see a clear lines and some imperfections. With the help of this light, I can clearly see them. I'm doing here a wet sand using a 1000 or 2000 grit sandpaper and really work gently across the entire surface. This smooths out any imperfections and help achieve wonderful results. So we did the sanding process. As you can see, it's little of color. Maybe with this one, it's more obvious. It take off that shine. But don't worry about that, because all this is about to change. What I have with me right now is a very thin brush. That's absolutely fantastic. Right, just make sure it's fine, brittle. What we need to do is apply slight amount. If it's too much, just take it out. The idea over here, what we need to do is take the jar and go this time really slow, like so. If you think this is too much, or when the brush goes against the jar with a little too much of liquid, just go back and brush again. Now we move to the next section. Again, the same thing. Take slight amount of this glossy seal and apply it really slow. We don't need to go back and brush again. It's because what you're doing here is you're creating lines. So just once, and then move. If there are some imperfections where you see that the seal didn't reach, just go back and revisit that area. So again, slow, really slow. And I'm going back again for one more time. I'm applying. Moving to the next section. So what's really good about this method is because the previous layer has already lost its shine, you can really see through. So if there are any imperfections, you can revisit them and do little tiny touches and then move again. Now we're doing above the logo. With the sanding, the reason why I chose 1000 grit is because if you sand too much, you might lose some of those fonts, the letters, the decal. So you need to go really slow on the sanding as well. You just need to remove one thin layer, that's all. Last part is right over here. And we are almost finished. Fantastic. Right, what we need to do now is place this little stand. So what we need to do is we need to touch this entire space, and the idea to do that is do a little of dip. Now you need to go inwards, the brush, not outwards. So you go this way and then just do little touches. Take your time. The idea over here is you need to apply very thin layer. Right, so again, inwards, not outwards. It's funny because I keep reminding myself to do that as well. Alright, we're almost there. One more over here. Oops. Okay, I already did one off the camera. Once you finish, just make sure you dip this with plenty of water and marinate this maybe for about 10-15 minutes, just so that you make sure that all the seal will move or lose or go out, so that you can use this again, which is really brilliant. This is another previous one that I did off the camera, and as you can see, it is absolutely perfect. No problems at all. Fabulous. Now that the candle is completely dry, they pass about 2 days. A good thing that you can do with them is to add some sealant. And the sealant that I have is absolutely brilliant. So to cut them off, what you need to do is line them up like that and trim off the edges. Just try and leave some space so you don't end up cutting too much. Like that. Turn it around. And voila. Right, I'll do the same over here, but that's the idea. So again, you don't need to remove too much. Just make sure you do it this way. job is done. Now what I like to add is some sealer. This is by Clark's, and how it works is very simple really. What you need to do is apply some sealer to add an extra protection. And let's start. We can actually start with these, especially in this area, right? So. Good advice is when you apply the sealer, you let them dry like so for about half an hour, actually to 1 hour. And then what you can do is you can buff it up with this, or you can actually do that as well. Right, so let's do it on this candle as well. And cover it up. And that brings this project to an end. This candle started as a university assignment, but it became the reason why I finally picked up a camera and started this channel. I've been handcrafting home decor for years now, mostly behind the scenes, and this felt like the right time to begin sharing this process. I would love to hear your thoughts, especially your ideas on packaging. Would you go less minimal, more festive, or something completely different? Let me know in the comments. I'll also list all the materials and tools I used in this video down below, in case you'd like to try something similar yourself. If you enjoyed this video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel. This is just the beginning, and I'm super excited to share more handcrafted projects with you. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.